So I'm not saying I have like a problem with the name, but I'm confused as to what is STEM about this organization.
Well, I mean, the students themselves are STEMinists, and obviously we're working with STARS. They do computer science outreach for young girls.
And you also see how IIT is mainly known for STEM kind of fields, majors. I know there's a humanities department as well, but they're willing to kind of collab with that kind of umbrella for all the majors.
Yes.
I actually have a problem. So you're not like worried about like maybe disencouraging, I don't know, it's probably not a word, but disencouraging like architecture students and
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so we picked the name STEMinist obviously because like IIT, STEM, they're synonymous basically. But one of our main goals is, yes, there are groups for women on campus, right? But they're Society of Women Engineers. So we want to make an organization that's open for everybody because Mahak is a psychology major, we have business majors, we have communication majors, and they don't really have the same kind of support system that maybe the engineering majors have. Yes.
Would you be interested in maybe collaborating with the other groups involved around women and engineers to kind of push the Board of Admissions or whoever controls the students that are admitted into the school to consider more female applications? Because that's one of the first steps in increasing the
That's a good point.
Just kind of going along those lines, I worked with an organization kind of helps women in the low-income community. So they do stuff like that. They help kids kind of push not only the women but also little kids like growing up. Kind of, it's like an organization for STEM kind of stuff. So I'm thinking to have a volunteer or like a program with them where they can come and talk and tell them the opportunities, program that are available for them, like kids in the middle school or high school. So, but it's going up. We were talking about STARS and also other societies in the club.
Yeah, and I think you had a question, right? Yeah.
Yes. Does your organization have a specific structure right now written down?
Like
sort of like an executive board or anything like that?
No, I mean right now it's us, and everyone's coming to us, and we are obviously looking for people that we can rely on to help us out with like fleshing this whole thing out.
And then additionally, you talked about a lot of different ideas for starting out and some initial events, but thinking big picture, what do you see yourself doing down the road within a couple of years or something like that? What are the key components of your programming?
Yeah, so the key components would be for maybe to encourage more women on campus. Our goal is like you're gonna come to college, right? And you're gonna come from wherever you came from, and hopefully before you go out into the professional world, you understand what gender is and how it affects you every day, whether or not you recognize it. And so we're hoping that at the end of the day, our members and hopefully school-wide will be able to adopt these principles and this way of thinking and realize, am I making this decision because it's a decision I want to make, or is it something else that's acting on me? Yes.
So in the fall of 2013, I think it was by the 2014-2015 school year, this organization was no longer re-chartered or whatever. There used to be a Feminist Unite organization. I don't know if you have the contact for the previous members or exec board, but would you be open to kind of broadening your conversations, your discussions to more than just STEM? Because again, like I kind of want to touch on the fact that although we view the school as STEM focused, there are a lot of feminists who are not studying engineering.
Yeah. A while ago we kind of mentioned that we do not want to focus just on those majors, but we do want to open that door to like other issues such as dating violence and other violence, not just limit to like professions and careers. So yeah, that would be implied at the beginning of it.
And that's really a big deal for us. Like that is because obviously there, like I said, there's organizations, specifically for women in engineering, but there's not really anything for women in psychology. So, or men in psychology who are interested in gender as well. Because we have men interested in gender in this organization that we've talked to, and also we have signatures, right? And then also in our gender psychology class as well. Any more questions? Yes.
Do you see yourself as a group that down the line can have discussions about like LGBTQ issues on campus? One of the things I've noticed on campus is that it's pretty lacking. That kind of community is pretty lacking, and it's pretty hostile to those rules.
So We do know that's very like ongoing topic nowadays. So a lot of people don't tend to talk about it very openly. So it would be one of the topics that we could have a discussion on, how you can be more comfortable about it to peers around you, teachers around you, because nowadays everybody is very welcoming. But a lot of people still have that perception that still, no, I can't tell people about it. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Any other questions? Okay, one last one.
Do you have a faculty backing you up on this?
Yeah. I have 3 professors that are, one of them is doing a research in women in STEM, also in men's STEM, who is willing to come in and talk on behalf of us. One of our teachers who are willing to be our advisors as well, 2 of them actually. One is from the Healthness Center. She's one of the psychologists there. She's willing to come in on as well. Those are the 3 or 4 faculties that I know are willing to be on the board with us.
Yeah, and we do have like advisor that we stated on our application is Dr. Nicole Legate, and she's a PhD in clinical psychology, and she's a professor here.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
We will now have a discussion on the organization builder. I'll let you guys to be. You guys can come back after the discussion to
Okay.
listen to the remaining of the meeting, and I'll let you guys know before Friday.
Okay.
You can watch the discussion live on YouTube.
Wait, really? Okay, so would we
Oh,
come
cool.
back, or?
You guys, if you want, you can.
Oh, okay.
You guys need to
Slow clap?
Yes, all right. Thanks,
No, we don't
everybody.
necessarily. I don't know. Does he have to turn something on, or is it automatic? I think it's
I
automatic.
think that should be the live stream instead.
What's that? The what?
I think that should be the live stream instead.
Well,
Just you sitting up and just yes. It'd be hilarious.
that's the
If
recorded.
people just
Do we have anyone who is a part of STEMinist? Member? All right. So we'll now have a 5-minute discussion on STEMinist,
Is it live?
starting now.
Totally live.
Dylan.
I like the group. I like the fact that we go outside of just engineering fields.
Can you speak louder?
I feel like the most important part where women are most underrepresented at the school is in the engineering fields, but still I feel like it's a good group to have. And if they have leadership that's willing to tackle really big problems in this school, as far as representation, I feel like it can be a very influential group.
John?
Like I like the idea a lot, but I still feel like the name's a bit confusing because STEM kind of like, I mean like, there's several people who asked about the whole STEM thing, and they're like, oh well, you know, we're not gonna be focused on it. But I mean, like if I was walking past and saw a poster for it, I mean, if I saw STEM, I'd be like, oh well, I'm architecture, I can't join it. So I don't know. I at least think that maybe not drastically like change the name, but maybe like somewhat change the name, so it gives more of a not broad, but like more open to everything. Well, you guys kind of get what I'm saying, right?
Sorry?
I think that it's really up to them to, in their programming, make it clear that they have a focus that goes beyond the name. Because the name is a simple, attractive name that sort of communicates the core of the organization. And a lot of the issues that they are dealing with as an organization are related to recruitment of women into STEM fields, especially they plan to do, and some of their programming. I think that they had some very strong proposals that sort of led very naturally into finance board proposals, and I think that they're playing at the college level. Speaking to a different point, I think that the section in which they were speaking about very well for what we like to see from a student organization.
Thank you. Morgan?
I additionally worry a lot about the name. Not only is STEM unappealing, a lot of times feminism is like a really hot word with students. Like some students won't want to join it because they're like, oh, only females join because it's like a feminist group, even though that's not true. And I also worry if the organization is not put together well enough yet. They really only have 2 members, and then they have like 12 people interested. They don't have like a group formed yet. They don't even have meetings yet. They also did not have a budget, so.
Jeremy?
To piggyback off
what Morgan just said. They both said that they're third-year students. So that basically means that within this next year, they have to completely turn over. So if they get approved for a student organization, they have to completely turn over and establish an exec board and establish all these other things within a year, because then they're gone. So having a couple of people say they're interested, but having nothing beyond that is concerning to me about whether or not they'll last after they graduate in a year.
John, sorry.
I just feel like with the name, STEMinist, I mean, if you're not willing to join a feminist group because of the name feminism, I don't really feel like you'll agree with the message. So I think that as far as STEM, also, just because names have a certain thing doesn't mean you have to be true to that. Like, you know, the religious groups have a certain name, but that doesn't mean they're enclosed to just those people who believe in that religion. So I feel like with the name STEMinist, just so they're trying to emphasize more representation within the STEM field, but it's open to everybody. Like Stuart said, that's their job to promote their club. The club is open to everybody.
Sorry.
I think that speaking about the group's numbers and the group's strength, this is something that we discussed at the last Senate hearing with a different group as well. Our threshold is a minimum number of signatures, and they've met that threshold. And in addition, they may be third-year students, and they may have trouble getting an organization together that functions really well. But it's not really up to us to determine whether they become some huge, massively successful organization. And I think that denying them the chance to become an organization is a lot more harmful than letting them become an organization and see if they succeed, because they're not going to succeed if we never give them the chance to be an org.
William.
I'd agree with that, but like it is our job to like at least make sure that they have the capability of doing that, or that they have the understanding that you do need to establish some sort of like hierarchy to continue, throughout the years. So there, I agree with what you're saying, but we also have to make sure that the leadership knows that it needs to be a continuous process.
Right. Who else has comments? Raise your hands. All right, Catherine.
Can we ask them to come back with a set number of either have an exec board ready or at least people who could be on the board, just so that they have a structure in place, and once they get approved, if they get approved, they can just hit the ground running? We could ask them to come present in 2 weeks' time, and then.
For what it's worth, real quick, one thing that after you all say yes, well, if you say yes to them, they then come back and work with me to set up their constitution, which would probably include their exec board and what that looks like, if that's helpful.
All right. Other comments? The voting starts now. A yes, B no, everything else abstain.
Is it working? Is the AV working?
Can I take a moment on this one since I missed?
Yeah. Oh, what's gonna be?
Do I still have my voting?
What?
Do I still have my voting?
You came in late, so you didn't listen to the whole presentation.
Yeah.
So.
Is that the only?
That's the only thing. Right. Everyone voted?
We can't see it though.
Oh, trust me.
Oh, there it
There
is.
it is.
Oh.
There it is. They are approved.
Cool.
So we have. Thank you. Now we'll move on to officer reports. Rahul.
Is there a microphone this time?
No.
All right. First things first. Where's Gino? Student gift. Do you want to do this now or later?
We do it
At the end?
at the end.
All right. Okay. So at the end, Gino is going to go around and talk about student gift to all of you. Will can help. Jeremy can help as well. I'll just quickly tell you what our project is. We are doing solar power picnic tables, right? So we're working on solar power picnic tables. They're Wi-Fi enabled, so they'll be pretty cool. They have charging ports, so you can charge your cell phones, laptops, whatever you want, and you can even bring out heaters in the winter. So if that helps, worth a shot. Oh. Second point, PSAC updates. So there was a PSAC meeting. PSAC is President Student Advisory Council. We had the meeting on, hey, I can see the presentation there. Great. We had a meeting on last Thursday. We spoke about 3 major things. One of them is, Hori, please. I can't see. Email on rise in tuition. So as you all must have heard or get the email, tuition is going to rise. We had a long discussion with President Krem about sending out more information than what he did. I learned that a couple of years back, President Anderson did send out more information, but it was misunderstood because when he said, hey, tuition is rising, but these are the great things that are going to happen on campus next year, people thought tuition was rising, and the rise in tuition was going towards that, when that was not the case. Some of those things were fundraise money. He was just talking about great things next year to keep everybody happy. So we'll have to word it better this time. Shubarna should be working on that email with President Krem, and hopefully it'll be out soon. Second point, opening MTCC for longer time. It's more of a safety concern. So we would have a central location on campus that is open longer. Public safety will hopefully be in there all the time that it's being open, and it will give students a place to go, late at night, or if they're walking from one building to another. At least there'll be a place that if anything goes wrong, they could go in. They should be safer there, or just someplace they can hang out, work on homework and stuff if they don't want to go to the library. Third point is First Amendment rights and protesting space on campus. So we've had times when students would like to talk about how they feel, but they're sometimes have a reserved spot. There's been some confusion, and I've heard that students would like a space where they could just go and talk about how they feel openly without without any judgment. They could talk about what they believe in and encourage conversation. They don't have to reserve the space. So we're working on getting a space on campus like that. Also, First Amendment rights where you are allowed to say what you want without fear of scrutiny. And another thing that we're working on, hopefully you'll get that soon. And then third point, collecting data on student dissatisfaction. So if you guys follow the ITSC page, for the past few weeks, I've been reading a lot of negative comments. Unfortunately, with my busy schedule, I can't just keep replying to everyone. So I decided to collect all that data because I realized that there's a misunderstanding that students believe that a lot of administration was on the ITSC page. And they are, but I don't think they're reading, from my conversation with them, they're not reading all the comments that students are posting. So there's a lack of communication there. And that's SGA's role, to be that communication between administration and students. So I'm collecting all that data. Mete shared it with you. I've shared that data with PSAC. I've shared that data with the exec board and some other members who I thought could help. Being SGA, I think if we support those students, reach out to them. I had to take out the information of who they are because there was some private information there. I didn't read all of them. I couldn't read all of them, so I didn't know. One second.
That information is actually available on the Excel sheet, so you may want to go back and
I've covered it up. I'll go and format the page so nobody can see it. I didn't get much time until Soren brought it up. Thank you for that, actually. So we can reach out to them. Look at, for example, you're in student life. There's a project about there's a complaint about student life on that. Reach out to that student. It could be one of your projects. You can help them out. That's SGA's role. Projects are important. What we do here is important, but the biggest thing we do is outside of this room, outside of our meetings. So make an impact. Let SGA be known to people that we're there to help them. It also helps with transparency. It also helps them know what we're up to, what we're doing. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you, go and fix the problem for them. I'm going to say, communicate with them and help them fix the problem, because that's your role as a leader. Don't spoon feed anybody, because no one's going to gain from that. If you help them help themselves, instead of having 60 strong students, we'll have 9,000 strong students, and that's the goal. With that, I met with President Krem last week to talk about some of the issues. It was an hour meeting. There was a lot of head banging, a lot of communication, where President Krem thought, I don't blame him. There's some things that, it was hard to explain to him that, he felt that students, if they had a problem with something, they should bring it up to administration. The communication shouldn't be on Facebook. But what we decided was, there are a lot of questions that a lot of students don't know. We spoke about it in PSAC as well, where there are a lot of myths on campus that, for example, we have SSV sorry, we have SSV because of Sodexo, and that's why Sodexo has a monopoly on campus, which is not true. As Sodexo did not help us get SSV. And there are a lot of there are a lot of questions. Why do we have Sodexo? What's the reason for Sodexo? What's the reason for this? What's the reason of that? So I've sent a list of questions to Katie Stets, Dean Stets, and hopefully she will answer them very soon. I have a one-on-one with her tomorrow. Hopefully you'll get answers to those questions, and we'll post it on Facebook. We'll post it around so those myths get busted.
IIT Mythbusters.
IIT Mythbusters. That's what we do. Questions now or later?
Later.
Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me an open floor.
Thank you, Rahul.
So I was not here for the undergraduate students committee meeting last week, but Rahul filled in for me. And one of the big things that they want us working on is the pass-fail proposal. The way that we had it set up was a whole bunch of different points that needed to get covered. And what the UGSC wants from us is just a more cohesive and a more comprehensive plan that they can read through and then approve that covers most of the things that we need on that. The second thing is Professor Ellen Mitchell couldn't make it into our committee meeting last week because of the weather and the blizzard. So she will be coming in the next week to talk to our committee again. I've also asked her to meet with me and maybe a couple students from our committee just to get a head start on what she actually wants so that when she comes into the committee, we're better prepared for it. The undergraduate research office is getting a lot of attention and it's getting a lot of momentum, so we're probably going to leap into that as well and see how the academic affairs committee can help push that motion forward. For those who don't know, they're trying to have at least a website running for undergraduate research and bring that into the forefront and not just have research for graduate students only. The next thing is student projects. It's pretty much the same thing as last week. My senators will be sending in updates. A lot of them are still working through getting in touch with the administration and getting all that stuff done, but that's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Questions later.
Subarno.
Hey. Hello. I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
Bad.
I've lost my microphones. But the good news is we're live and they can hear us.
Say hi, everyone.
So it's great. That mic and that tiny camera can pick up a lot. So liaison project with the student organizations. We'll have a discussion later during open floor. Big event is on the 16th. Clear your schedules for the 16th. It's a Saturday. We'll all go. Make sure you're there. I'll fire you. And let people know about the big event. Website, hashtag website. Go to the website channel on Slack. Give us feedback so we can update it and make it look really, really cool. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. So I want to share with you 4 points today. First one, actually yesterday I believe, we got a confirmation from OTS that they would like to participate with us on our third town hall. So we're going to be hosting them just like we hosted public safety previously, and dining services was our first one. A few things that they want to talk about is the application, the My IIT application that we're releasing. We're hoping that we make that town hall an official release for them, but that is still going within plans, so nothing is confirmed yet. And we're also going to have the typical town hall discussion. So speaking of the app release, in the email that I received, it was announced that the app is going to be released for iOS and Android next week, hopefully. Again, those are tentative, not exactly next week, but like we're getting there. Actually, Apple and Google have those apps, and we're waiting for them to publish them. So all we have to do is wait for now. And for Windows phones, IIT is currently working on those, so the release will be soon after, hopefully. Food Advisory Board, we will be having the first meeting for the spring semester. We kind of dropped that on that for a little bit because we had a change in leadership. And we're going to hopefully have a meeting on Friday, 3:30 in Pritzker Club. So all of you are encouraged to go. Every single student in IT can go, so please go. This is where you can discuss about our dining, our meal plans, and everything related. And my last point here is the Committee of Student Life is going to be on the bridge Friday from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. So stop by, support us, hear what we have to say, and that's it. Yeah. Questions,
One
open
quick
floor.
comment. This is about the setting of the bridge specifically.
Should I take it? What's the question?
If you need, I don't know if you have buttons, but that was very effective for compound set on the bridge, and I will happily send you buttons if you.
We'll talk about it.
Hello, everyone. We have a
Hello.
hearing this Saturday. For the rest of the semester, it should be pretty small, hopefully, but it probably won't. Never is. New finance board guidelines are in the works. Yay! One of our advisors, Matthew Trumler, took the initiative to really wrap it up, and it looks beautiful. There's a title page that dedicates it to Ryan Miller. He's a father and a hero to all of us.
I've asked them to remove that.
Really? Why? Oh, that's great.
It's a little weird.
So we're gonna have a new finance board forum, maybe with that guy and her, to talk about the new guidelines and to talk about, again, how to propose for money so that people don't say they don't know how to propose, and also to find new finance board advisors, which we need. So, look forward to that. I didn't tell anybody the finance board advisors yet, but now you know. And hearing this Saturday will be open. I will be sending out an email to all presidents and treasurers and telling them to then tell their general population. I don't want to spam everybody with an email. Money. It's open to 15 people at a time because the room's small and people aren't allowed to say anything because we really work really quickly. It takes us like 9 hours to get it done, so we don't really want people to come in and ask questions. We just want them to know how it goes in a hearing, and so that we don't seem so shady.
Thank you. Jeremy?
You should refresh it. There you go. All right. President and Provost Forum is this Wednesday in the Herman Hall Ballroom. I expect all of you to be there. This is our biggest SGA event that we put on every semester, so please come let people know. The next thing I wanted to say was I got a couple questions about the SGA banquet, and a couple people emailed me saying, hey, can I invite this person? Can you invite this person? Keep doing that. So I know a couple people have contacted me saying, hey, can you send an email to this person I worked with on a project in this office? Awesome. I'll send them an email. So just keep kicking those to me and I can take care of that.
Thank you. We don't have any senator reports. Before we move on to open floor, I want to ask some of the exec board questions. You guys can ask your feedback as well, like about the questions, about things that they brought up. If you have any questions, I have a question for Gayatri about undergraduate research. You should talk to Leadership Academy and Adam Denchfield, because I heard that they were trying to do something as well.
Yeah, that's the email that Ron forwarded me, so I'm going to get in touch with all of them and see.
Good.
Follow up?
Yeah.
So last meeting at Leadership Academy, this was announced, and this was announced in the last meeting with Leadership Academy, and I was able to tell them that SGA is working on something similar, and I referred Rodney, who's within Leadership Academy, to tell Adam to come to us. So whether that happened or not, I don't know, but I would like to tell you that Leadership Academy is aware of this. That SGA is working on it.
Sorry.
Question for Jacob.
Yes, sir.
You talked about putting together a forum for Finance Board and Judicial Board.
Yeah.
In ComCom, we're working on a forum to bring student organizations in and talk about similar issues and perhaps include people from OCL and people from media organizations. Do you want us to collaborate with you on that and make that one thing? Okay.
I will be in touch with you. All right.
Jacob, are you planning to live stream the hearing?
Do it! It's so much fun. The problem with that is that I wasn't going to make everybody hold a microphone because
We can have a nice live streaming service.
Oh, if you can set it up, yeah, I didn't know that was possible.
Here.
In here?
Think about
We'll
it.
talk, we'll talk.
And communicate with Shibarno because I think he knows someone that can do it. Shibarno, can you update the constitution on the website?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
And lastly, Jeremy, can you give a little bit more details about the banquet? When it's gonna be?
Yes.
Where?
So the location, we have a couple spots like tentatively reserved right now. It's completely based on how many people are going to attend. So I'm starting to get RSVPs coming in, but I'm also waiting to invite more people. So I don't know exact number, but it's going to be 6 to 8 p.m. with dinner served at 6:30.
When was it?
6 to 8 p.m.
No,
with dinner
date.
served at 6:30. It's on April 22nd.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about officer reports?
Oh, I had a question. For the for the student gift, where are the tables going to be located at?
They're going to be at different events. She's going to go around today, later, at the end of this meeting, I guess.
Taste of IIT on Monday.
Taste of IIT on Monday, different events around campus. We'll have a list. I don't know if can we publish the list?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So if people, are looking out for it, going to an event, they can decide to donate them as well.
Oh no, I meant the student gift tables, right?
Oh, you mean the ones we get the money in?
Yeah.
Just around campus. How do we
So we haven't confirmed the location yet. It all depends on how much money we get, because like the more money we get, the more tables we can have. So it really depends how much we get.
We're also talking about doing a thing where like most students from an organization would donate to pick where the table goes, but we're looking into that. So.
Additionally, there's only certain spots we can put the tables with the sunlight and stuff like that. So we have to get people out from the company to get us some spots.
Thank you. Jacob?
What's the time for the PCC now? Do you know yet?
No, it's still a discussion. We haven't decided yet. We'll work on it probably this Friday. Once we get something solid.
All right. Yeah, questions? Yeah, John.
What was the student satisfaction Facebook page that you were talking about? What was it called?
Student satisfaction. No, I just said the student community. I'm collecting data from the student community.
He's talking
So
about the spreadsheet.
I just
Oh,
put a spreadsheet
okay. I
in.
thought there was a Facebook page. Never mind.
Laurie?
I had a question about, so you're going to meet with the president to have more details included in email, or to make it more transparent where the money that's gonna.
Yeah, so we already had the meeting. We had the meeting last Thursday, and so what he said was he would like PSEC to send the message out. So Shibarno, as chair of PSEC, said he would write the email, and then he would just show it to President Cran to verify the information. Okay. And once the information is verified, either he would send it out or I would send it out.
Okay.
To all the students.
Dylan, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for
Can you speak
Leo
louder?
about the app. Are they gonna allow feedback from students at all, or like is this like the final version of the app they're releasing?
So, feedback is very open and we're encouraging it. I believe it's going to be built into the app itself, so that once it's released, we can collect as much feedback as we can. It's a constantly improving app. It's not going to be just out there and that's the end of it. We're actually just like, this is the first draft, so we're definitely not going to stop there. And we're going to be collecting feedback on the bridge on Friday as well. I requested links because we need to get more links every time, so if I get them by Friday, we can start sharing those apps like low-key with the students, whoever stopped by to talk to us.
Any other questions, comments?
Did you set the location and time for that finance board hearing this Saturday? Have you determined that yet? Because you said people could sit in.
So normally it's in the exec conference room, but we moved it and I forgot where to move it to, so I will send it out.
How do you decide who gets to attend if you're only limiting it to a certain amount?
Well, so we're just gonna have 15 seats available, and you can come, and if there's space open, you can come in. If it gets really crowded, then we'll start cycling people out so that you don't have to wait a long time. Makes sense. And it's also gonna be online too, so. We just don't have enough room to like have 40 people crammed in there, so we have to stop it at some point.
Thank you. William.
I have a question for Subarno. Where can students find the live feed to this video?
On the ITSC student group and the SGA Facebook page.
Any other questions, comments? All right.
Oh wait, I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Raul, as far as
Can you speak louder?
you know how you said that President Crown was really frustrated at how students were voicing their opinions about certain things that they want changed on Facebook instead of directly towards administration. Is there any way for students to use Facebook to directly ask administration questions, or is that something that can only get through email or go to Howard or something?
I didn't think of that. I don't know, maybe I can have that conversation.
You should have people send emails because people just like to talk crap on Facebook, and if you actually mean something and you like are supportive, it really does. It's like a way to decipher whether it's just shit talking or something.
Yeah, but I feel like you get more genuine feedback about our school on the page that students feel like they're more open to discuss something about instead of formal email where they feel like
It very easily turns into a whining session, and that ends up causing, like, if I were to browse through it, it makes it extremely difficult for me to sort out what's actually people just being, oh, this sucks.
And I don't. Please raise your hand before speaking. Lani, and then sorry.
I agree with that point. I feel like having battles and like reply sections and comments on the Facebook page is not a very effective way to talk about what we need to change. I thought that organizing all of it into, I don't know if this is a good idea, but another page, or I don't know, there's some way to actually organize it on Facebook. And, I just feel like using Facebook is a need to organize for us to actually.
Sorry?
I don't think that Jelani's argument was that a Facebook thread, like some of the ones that have happened in the last few weeks, are necessarily the most productive way of making change, but they are perhaps the most honest form of feedback that we see on campus in terms of it being written down in one place. And people vent to Facebook, and just because they aren't going to different sources of input, or perhaps they don't feel as if they can go to different sources of input, does not make that commentary invalid. And all of these arguments still exist, and they're not necessarily productive in the way that we view productivity, because we're SGA senators, we're getting things done a certain way, but the way that certain people approach things, they feel they can't do that, or they feel that there would be pushback on that, and they feel like going to Facebook, they get a lot of response from that. And just because those people may not be going to certain methods of input doesn't mean we should discount it.
Happy?
Just to counter that, I mean, the Excel document that Rahul shared on the page, you saw that just on that one post, there was so many people commenting about the various things that they had a problem. He gave them an outlet to actually formulate a set of responses in a more organized manner, and it was just 22 people. So that should tell you how much. I understand it's easier to vent on Facebook because that's what most people do, but if you want to use Facebook, maybe we come up with a better scheme, like have a form that's always present on the SGA Facebook page, and then people go to that form and then fill that out instead of people browsing through the ITSC page.
Well, first of all, no one knows me, or well, some people do. My name's Victor. I'm a computer science student. This is my first SGA meeting. I would say, first of all, as someone who hasn't filled out that form, the issue is not people just ranting on Facebook. The issue is that they do not believe that submitting anything into that form is going to do anything. So I don't think more forms are a solution. And second, just as a general question, what is the fastest way to contact someone in administration about a problem? Who? Like, to who's the public relations director? Who do I talk to? If I see a pothole, who do I address that to? I have no idea. No, I'm serious.
Literally, Dean Stens. She handles all the student concerns. She cannot handle it, she'll direct you to the right place. But even with that conversation I had with President Cran, even he said, student concerns, straight Dean Stens. You have a problem with the academics, Dean Stens. You have a problem with student life, Dean Stens. Everything goes to Dean Stens because that's literally her job. I don't, going back to that the thing on Facebook, I don't mind seeing a conversation on Facebook because there's nothing, like reading it, I cannot get anything substantial out. I like to, I mean, I understand if people don't think anything positive will come out of that. Hopefully something very soon will. That's why I've encouraged this group to do something about it, because I would like to see other people take steps instead of being negative. I haven't seen anybody take that initiative. I would like to see people trust that initiative. And I don't want to be the only one fixing problems for people, because again, I'm not here to fix problems. I'm here to educate people so we're strong as a community, not as strong as one person. I would like to see people in this room who've taken up this role to reach out to some of the students, and that's why initially I shared the names of the people. You have a concern that you relate with, or you think you can reach out to that person about. Reach out to him. You have questions, reach out to me. I know where to direct all of you. This way we educate not only one person, we educate the whole community. So my goal is one day we don't need SGA. It comes to a point where a student can handle themselves. Maybe if they want to do finance stuff, they can go to finance board. If they want judicial stuff, they can go to judicial board. Senate should just be working on projects to make student life better, but not currently fixing those things. That's my goal. Maybe other people see it differently, but again, I would like to see the community not feeling like, hey, I can go to someone to fix my problem, or I can just go and vent on Facebook and that's done, that my job is done. It should be a continual thing that if you care about, you would want to see it finished. And again, you get a sense of accomplishment by doing something. You made an impact, you changed somebody else's life, not only yours. And that was the point of me collecting all that data.
Thank you. So we're gonna go Soren, Adrian, Aaron, Xavier. No, sorry. Soren, Sebastian, Adrian, Aaron, Xavier, Agua. So Soren.
So I think that it's true that most of us in this room know all of these different methods of input. Most of us who are senators at least know where to go. But a lot of students don't, and I think that Facebook group serves a real purpose in allowing people to, and this is a little bit of a separate discussion than if somebody doesn't know where to go, my problem, and then to seek answers. And I don't think it's inherently unproductive for them to use that very convenient source of input, because often they do get answers very quickly from that page, where somebody will say, email this office. And I think that part of our job isn't necessarily to reject that group or reject those conversations as a means of input, but to be the people responding and saying, this is who you should email. And I think that's something we've done very well in the last week. And I think that it's important that we don't distance ourselves from those conversations, because those conversations will exist no matter how robust input structures are at this school. There will always be people who are going to go on Facebook and empty their hearts into a Facebook post rather than going to an office. And that's just the way some people are, and we need to be there for all students.
Alright, so I just want to isn't that what town hall is for, where people come and voice their opinion on these things? So, and wouldn't it be better them to vent in person, actually talk, use their words instead of typing?
But some people just don't work that way, and we need to be there for everyone.
Okay, but then it's a little harder for one person to sit down and read through all these comments and try and see it through. I think you'll get a better reaction from a town hall, where staff can come and sit down, so whoever can come and sit down and listen and get immediate feedback, rather than asking the manager of Sedex to come and sit down on Facebook and read through all these comments. I don't think he would want to do that.
Can I have a response? Quick. Okay. I'm not arguing that Facebook is the most effective way of making change. I think the fact that I'm here as a senator shows you that I don't think that. But I think that it is a means of communication, and I think we're getting caught up in saying these students aren't doing the right thing, and these students aren't doing the most effective thing. But the thing is, these students have frustrations and they're trying to express them, and just because they're not expressing them in the ways that we want them to express them, just because they're not going to our events or going to certain offices, doesn't mean that we shouldn't respond and we shouldn't respect the way that they are expressing that.
Sebastian?
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with what Stuart said also, but say that it's not obvious. Like, it's not necessarily that people don't want to improve this community, it's that they don't know how to improve. Like, I think everyone wants to see ISTP better. It's just that they don't necessarily know who they should go to. It's not always clear to people.
And I feel like that's SGA's goal, to improve the communication. Again, I said we have the bridge between administration and students. So for example, we see something on Facebook, we should say, hey, why don't you come and have a conversation with me? Or hey, if you go to this person, they'll be able to help you out. And that's one of the things that I said I'm emailing Dean Stets to send out a list of responses. That's one thing. Who do I go to when I have this trouble, when I have that trouble? So that answer is out. Again, you know, being a student, whenever at least I've not been able to relate with that group, because whenever I've had an issue, for example, I didn't like Center Court being closed at 9 p.m. I went to Sodexo and got open till 12. That was my project. The gyms in the residence hall, that was my project. So at least that was a step I took. So I did not relate with that, but now I'm understanding it and I'm reaching out to those students. So I do like the feedback that we're getting here, and I'm trying to make that change not only for me but for SGA.
Thank you. How do you?
So Victor brought up a point about like the potholes. That was posted on the Illinois Tech Student Community page, and IIT Facilities was tagged, and the next day the potholes were filled.
Yeah.
So you guys talk about Sodexo, all these people ranting on Sodexo. If you tag the Sodexo people in the comment section, they will see it, and they will actually like make a difference. Maybe not as much as facilities did, and like how fast the turnaround was for facilities. But the thing is, like, if you tag the corresponding department, like they will take notice. It's easier for them to go through what they were tagged in than going through the whole entire Illinois Tech Student Community page and looking at every single comment.
Thank you. Aaron?
I think it's very important that we develop some way that the students can voice their concerns. It doesn't make sense to me for every single person who has a problem to directly go to Dean Stets or whoever the administrator is. Because then you get a lot of people who have a lot of the same problems, sort of all venting the same thing, you know, which isn't really helpful for anyone. It's wasting a lot of people's time. You know, I admit that the Facebook group in its current form, the way that people are using it to try and solve problems, is not effective either. But it does give a lot of students a way to see that there are other students who are concerned, and it does give them a way to at least see their solidarity. So I think we should be using that as a stepping off point instead of just telling students to go see the administrator in their office hours to get something done.
I will say that the comments that have come out of this page, they stem from a gross lack of distrust in administration, especially for issues that are based just by kind of red tape that students can get involved with. And I will give a specific example of a fellow student who actually posted something and had the president's office reach out to him and have to explain to them that he has First Amendment rights to voice his concerns. So I won't name the student, but he is a Leadership Academy scholar, and when the tuition increase post was posted, he replied with he was not going to donate to the school after graduating. And he got a call from George, who is the head of Leadership Academy, who told him that the president's office reached out to him and institutional advancement reached out to him, and were extremely disappointed in the comment and viewed it as irresponsible, and that at the end of the day that he should be quiet because he has a full tuition scholarship. So I would challenge SGA to, if you really want the students to come to you as, you know, that kind of liaison between administration and the student body, to incorporate some form of referendum aspect. And I don't know, obviously semesterly elections are too spread out, but some form of students to be able to vote on things, because if there are legitimate concerns that we don't want to deal with on a single base by stance kind of thing, we have to allow students to vote on something, and not to tell them that you have to go fix your own problem.
Thank you.
I think to me it really seems like we should just ask SGA first, like have some sort of structure on how we want communication to be established, because so far people don't know where to go to complain for things. And even us, like I think if we ask, are we all aware of the correct way that we're supposed to address any sort of concern? And we're supposed to be representing our own colleges, so if we don't know ourselves, like how are other students supposed to know that as well? So I think it comes from us being aware of it
and then us communicating that to the body of students that we're representing. Because right now, if a business student has a concern about anything, a lot of them, like half at least, are commuters. Half, I know for sure, are international students. So if they all have concerns, they need to be knowledgeable on what's the best way to do that. And that, I think, it's our job, and it goes back to that's their job as SGA, being the liaison with that. So if we don't all agree on one way to do that, how are we expecting? We can't be upset that students are ranting on Facebook, because that is the one outlet that they see is getting some sort of attention. If they don't know us all, like, how are they feeling, any sort of, like, they won't know how to address these kinds of situations. So I think it really is us as an organization first establishing that and deciding that. And I don't know if that will come first from exec board, if it's something that should be discussed among like a smaller group and then brought upon us and then be discussed further. Because otherwise it's like we're telling people to go to offices. We're telling people don't post on Facebook, but we're also saying if you post on Facebook about the potholes, they'll get fixed. So we're contradicting ourselves and we're delivering just the wrong means, or just so many different alternatives that students are confused, like Victor addressed, that they don't know where to go.
So I want to address your comment. So Xavier is actually working on a project to put all of our faces in MTCC as a picture and an email below that, so students can know who to contact. That might be a good way for students to getting known to us and then coming up to us and talking about things. Secondly, I have a personal comment about Sodexo. I think there was a leadership change in Sodexo this semester. I don't know about the meal plans or the pricing. That might be, you guys might think that might be unfair, but for this semester I realized a significant increase in food quality, especially over the weekends. And one thing about the overall not reaching a method to get feedback from the students, I would say that Facebook is an important place and people do rant. But we also need to say that we also need to reflect their comments to the administration, while also giving them another resources of how to communicate, how to reach the administration. So it's not, I don't think it's a very bad thing to tell them, hey, go and talk to this person. But I think Facebook should be like, I think they should keep using Facebook, because if we don't have the rants there, we only have event promotions, and that's it. And sometimes someone asks a technical question, or someone's trying to sell something and they direct them to free rent for sale. So I think it's important to have those rants there. But it's also important not to have a negative atmosphere on campus. That's my comment. All right, I'll have two quick comments from Xavier and Adrian.
Thanks for reminding me. So senators and exec board, basically everyone here, be prepared next week to come dressed well for a picture to be taken to Walter and TCC. I will contact my data sound email. Some of you may not check it, but just remember you may have to look good, please. Thank you.
Maybe we could have a future goal of the app once it's up and running. A lot of people downloaded it to have somewhere in the app to throw out your complaints. Not really complaints, but for suggestions. For example, potholes, anything with Sodexo. That could, once we have a lot of users on the app, as many as we have on the Facebook page, maybe we could start trying to encourage movement of the suggestions from the Facebook page to that app.
Thank you. All right. Now we'll move on to our formal open floor discussions. Before that, I would like to remind everyone that nominations are due midnight. If you're planning to nominate anyone, it's closing midnight. They cannot accept their nominations until March 23rd, and they need to submit their candidate packets. And for those who submitted their candidate packets and went through orientation, campaigning starts tomorrow. Alyssa?
That's just for exec board, right?
Yeah, exec board nominations. Senate elections are next semester. And I want to thank to the exec elections committee. They've been doing a phenomenal job so far. They've really been working hard. They came to meetings on Sundays. And I want to thank Rahul, Shubarna, Sitlali, Irma, San, and Sirisha. We tripled the nominations from last year. I think that's a really good achievement. And we have a much better. Now we move on to open floor, our formal open floor discussions. Shubarna?
If you're sitting in the back away from the camera, please speak louder.
Okay.
All right. So we have a couple of discussions coming up. That's why we only had one student organizer, so that we can focus on this discussion. I really like the discussion about the Facebook page because I think that's one of the most important things. But now it's time for us to look inside SJ to see how we become more effective. And after this, we are going to have UMII presenting to us about their campaign, and they are gonna start campaigning tomorrow as well, just with the senators, with just the exec board elections. So we'll first discuss why we should double the size of the Senate. Alyssa?
I am totally for that because
Wait.
You speak for me, I'm for.
All right. So would you like
Sorry.
to? So we'll have someone that is for.
Or mine.
Talking about why it should be that way, and someone that is against, which is going to be probably me because I've done it before. So would you like to speak, or would you like us to speak?
I'll speak.
And then you can.
Actually, we could go bounce off each other. You want me to come up here? Or?
Yeah, come up here.
Please clap.
Do we vote at the end of this?
What?
Are we voting at the end of your speech?
So first and foremost, I think we should double Senate because that means we can't fit in this room and we stay in MTCC.
Woo!
So that's important. No, I'm kidding. That's not the most important. I would like to double Senate because I think, especially with the conversation we're having today, a lot of work needs to be done in the near future. I know we're all really hardworking students and we love SGA, we love doing all that we do for the students, but sometimes we need a little bit more firepower. Another thing I want to see come out of SGA is events. I would like to add another committee after the academic affairs and all the other stuff to have an events committee. So having more senators there would help with that as well, because I'm sure Jeremy's had trouble coordinating with senators who are in some committees and then, meeting outside. I would like to see SGA become one of the biggest orgs. I think it would really benefit us if we were much bigger, because one, we would have more time to reach out to our colleges as well, which I've heard isn't happening so effectively on both sides. It's harder for our senators to reach out to their college. It's harder for the college to talk to their students as well, because we're so few. We have so many students in our college and we're so few. All in all, I just see good things come out of doubling our body because, again, it's just more people, more firework. We can get more things done. If someone's busy this week, somebody else can cover up for that person. You could double the people working on projects. You could have more people, available to have office hours, do a lot of things. So we could have more things that SGA could do. I don't know if I was very clear, but I think I'll answer some questions, but I think you all understand.
No questions. We're gonna have a discussion.
Alyssa, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I also think that it would be nice to have double SGA size because I feel like a lot of the reason why qualified people don't run is maybe like the fear that they won't get elected or that they'll won't be able to do things like that. And I feel like if we allow more spots per college for SGA, then more people will feel comfortable running, more people will want to run. And I feel like there's nothing wrong also with having more opinions because it's more representative of our student body, and I think that's always a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'll have my case against this expansion. First of all, having more opinions is great, but we need to realize that we have Senate meetings that run for until midnight almost, and if we double the Senate, that's going to run even longer, or no one is going to speak because everyone's going to get bored, because it's really hard to have these long meetings. So I think in that aspect, it's going to be really hard. And my second point against it is, I think if we double the Senate, we are not going to have enough people running for the positions. It's going to be doubling. I don't think that was the. I'm not sure how many nominations we had for the last elections, but we might not have enough nominations. But I am, however, in favor of increasing the size of the Senate by maybe 2 students per college or in the ratio. I think increasing and getting the manpower, getting the events committee would be great, but I think doubling is a too steep increase. Maybe as the student body grows and as people get more interested in SGA, we can think about doubling or increasing it to the 40 senators. Yeah. All right, so we'll have the discussion starting now. Give me a minute to set up the clocks. We'll have 1.5 minutes per speaker time.
30 seconds per speaker time.
30 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna make it 1 minute because you guys are really. So speak concisely. Make sure your point gets across. Okay, I'm gonna start with Alyssa because she started speaking before we even started. Keep your hands up.
And you said that it would be, we have too many opinions and people will get bored and things like that because of our conversations. I feel like that just comes down to being more strict with our time limits for discussions. Like we say, we have 5 minutes for questions after an org and then we go for 10, 12 minutes after that. I feel like if we do want to have more senators, then I feel like it would just come down to being stricter about our time limits and being more concise with how long we're allowed to speak for each organization.
All right. Irma.
What is the current ratio right now of a senator to the students they represent?
Well,
You look at the number of number of students in the college divided by the total number of students at IIT multiplied by 20.
And that's what it is?
So that gives you the number of senators you have with that college.
Okay. And then the other thing is, how realistic is it for the vice president to be able to keep track of all the senators, keeping track that they attend all the meetings, you send the emails following up with them when they don't show up for things? Like, is that part of the reason why you're against it?
Not necessarily, because technically you are supposed to have a parliamentarian or a secretary, but I don't have that, so I'm doing it myself. So if you have that role, you would be able to do it.
So it'd be something implemented.
Yes. We can implement something for that. That's not the reason. Gayatri, Julani, Leo, and Sword.
The only thing that I have against that is the number of people that would run. Speaking just for College of Architecture, when I ran, I was the only one who ran for the position, and I think there was 2 positions open, and we didn't even fill in the second position because nobody in College of Architecture wanted to run for that position. So before we go on to actually increase the size of Senate, we should first focus on getting SGA into all of the colleges, get it popular, get people excited about running for these positions, and then move to increase more people once we get that interest.
Does anyone have a direct response? Be quick.
We've kind of done that. We've tripled the number of people that have submitted nominations. I think we've been a lot more out there. I've seen a lot of conversations about us. I've heard a lot of conversations about us, but maybe that's just me. But I think that we've been very effective this year, and I think that if this continues, we will be very effective next year as well, like getting more people to know more about it.
Yeah, I can say the same thing about Stuart. There's not that much interest into SGA, and at least in Stuart, it hasn't reached, or at least from what I can tell from my classes and from that student body. And furthermore, also, I think to me, it seems like we want to increase the size of the committees, or what the committees do right now, not exactly what the senators would be doing, but that also goes along with then senators, any added responsibilities that I know for communications we're working on. So we have to keep that into account as well.
Okay, I'll let you quickly respond, and then we'll move on to Joey.
The nominations that took off, they were for the executive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, that for the senators, that's where you start finding. Akash is working on certain stuff right now. I would love for him to have more architecture people so that we can go as a group and talk to the College of Architecture and not just, so I would love to have more people on board. But I don't see, even in the people that I run with, I don't see them being excited to be senators or be part of just, committees and such.
Right. Jelani.
I agree with Mete. I think that doubling it is a little bit too much of an increase in size. I do like the idea of increasing the amount of senators, but with that, I also agree with Alyssa in saying that we should have more regulations on how long we can talk for, so we don't elongate meetings with more members. And also, I think that there should be a little bit of a performance assessment as a senator that should be integrated as part of our Constitution, so we can know exactly how effective our term as a senator was, so that way we can re-elect good senators and keep a good core group within SGA instead of having it as like a title type of thing.
Yeah, I have a comment on that. I think that we're not having a problem with the number of senators, we're having the problem with the senators actually doing things. So if you were to add like one person per college plus one Shimer and one Vandercook, that would be a reasonable addition, but adding 20 new people would be ridiculous because no one will be doing any work still. We need to get people to do work.
Okay. Our Shimer senator is right over there. Nate Anderson. Yeah, he's not over there. That's the thing. We tried reaching out to them. Yeah.
I understand when people bring up the discussion that we have people not doing a lot of work and it's become a title thing. But I think that goes back to the VP. It goes back to the leadership of the VP. They're signing up for a really tough job, and it's not supposed to be easy for them where they just go to a meeting, have a committee report, and then go on and not do anything after that. So I would like to see first I would like to see the senators actually stepping up and doing things. So you bring up the point that there's some senators who are not doing much and just coming for the thing. That's a little bit disheartening. I didn't know that. But the second point is, I would like to see everyone step up as a leader. There's not only a position to help the students, but it's to help yourself and to grow. I would like to see this experience be the best leadership experience the school has to offer. That students come here, they say they're part of SG, and it's something amazing that they get out of it.
We're gonna cut that now. Leo.
A lot was said. To Gayatri, the issue with nominations and getting numbers actually goes hand in hand with the fact that we're trying to expand. What I want to point out is that I'm pro increasing and not double, just like how many people said. But the fact that SGA is getting out there and saying we're accepting more people, just like Alyssa said, will probably encourage even more people to apply, given that there's actually a place and a better chance for me to get in there. The reason is why we should not go double is what Rahul kind of talked about, is the leadership. As much as we try to work as hard as we can, I'm very pro change, but we need to go step by step. The future goal could be double, but right now, for the leadership to be able to handle that jump, I think it's very, very important that we take it step by step, and that's should start with an increase of 1 or 2 senators per college. And the last point I want to say is with the increase, the events committee is actually very important, because one problem and a big problem SGA is having is outreach and how we're getting out there, and having people specialized for events which take a lot of time is really important.
Thank you, Leo. Stuart.
I think that in Senate meetings right now, our flow of conversation works pretty well, and I think we have a good number of people, and I think that we have a number of senator positions, especially more specialized senator positions, talking like RHA, commuter students. I believe there's a graduate senator that's on the books, or there's a bunch of, like, there's Greek Council, all of that. I think that if we get Scheimer and Vandercook more active, if we add those senators in, we'll have a very good number. And I think that going back to the question of committees, we've been focusing a lot on having volunteers be part of our committees this semester so far, and that has been going really well. And I think that to get people in on the ground level with this organization, the senator position should be a relatively scarce position. It should be a position that's hard to get into. It should be a position that is held to very high standards. And I think that our committees should be filled out a lot by volunteers, and the number of senators we have isn't necessarily an issue.
All right. Irma had a comment, and then we'll see. Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, I agree with Soren, and that's why I think that we should have some type of I don't know, performance review with the senators. I'm not saying that we have a terrible group of SGA senators here. I'm just saying that having some type of way to quantify your effectiveness as a senator would incentivize people to become better senators and would hold us to a higher standard instead of it having the potential to become a title though. I'm not trying to insult anyone, I just want to feel like we have an incentive to do well.
I think in short, quality over quantity, and I think opening up the room to people to come in. What's this guy's name here? Just like technology. He comes to what I'm saying is, if someone really wanted to become a senator, they would do what he's doing. They would still come to the meetings and give their input, right? We're looking for quality members, and if their position becomes open, just like Soren got in, or Gayatri came in, there's room. There's still always room to switch them out. And if someone isn't performing, we can always switch out that senator with someone who is in the room, who's been coming to meetings and is a better candidate.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on this issue? Okay, oh yeah, Vanessa.
So with regards to performance review, I'd say there's a lot of senators that go for projects that look impossible by being by believing that the administration might fix them, but we go to a length and it doesn't happen in the end. But the senators work their job, so if we focus on the quality of their outcome as senators, how are we going to measure their performance with the work they did and not and measure their outcome while they were perfect, they were blocked in the end.
Are these a direct response to Vanessa or separate comments? Okay. Leo, Morgan, Adrian, Gayatri. Oh my God. Leo, start.
So I just want to say that when we're talking about performance, it doesn't have to be the outcome. As committee chair, I'm always having conversations with these senators. I always know how much they work, what they try to do, what things they do, and that is how I assess my that is how I assess the performance, and it's not based on the outcome, because we all know that projects vary. Even if it's done after 4 years, even if it's done in 2 weeks, that is definitely not how performance will be assessed, at least according to me.
Thank you. We'll say. Gayatri?
And I think as the chairs, what we can do is we can set up milestones and see how far they take their project. It should not just be, okay, I'm going to take up this project and then leave it hanging. So even if you're facing problems, but the senators make the milestones for themselves, like this is where I hope to take this project. And then when the next batch of senators come in, they take it further. So while some projects might be doable in 1 semester, but not all are. So the outcome is definitely not the measure of success of that senator, but how much effort they're putting into making sure they test out every avenue to make sure that they've done everything possible to make sure that that project can take off. I think that would be the best way to measure the performance.
Thank you. Akash?
I was just going to second that.
Right.
I think that, it's about performances is that we need to we need to be able to understand where we want to go with our projects, and like Gayatri was saying, that every VP is keeping track of everything that the senators are doing. I think the senators should also be responsible to talking to their colleges about their projects a little more, and getting SGA more aware or more present into their colleges, and that might mean talking to the students a lot more, because I've spoken to a lot of students. I've been trying to see who I could nominate for senator next year, but there's no architecture student who's interested in running for SGA, and that's a concern to me.
Right. Thank you. Last comment.
Here. So last year, Armor College, we had, I believe, 7 spots or 8 spots? 8 spots. So we had eight spots for senators in Armor College. 8 people ran, 8 people got the position. So one of those people, and this wasn't the case, but one of those people could, be like Joe Schmo, who nominated himself, got like 5 votes, and now he's a senator. Like, I think there needs to be competition, because he, like, I could have signed up for, nominated myself for a senator position, and my candidate package could have been, I hate SGA and I hate Illinois Tech, and that's it for every single response, and I would have been a senator.
Right.
I think increasing it, we're gonna, literally anyone could get in there, and I think there needs to be a competition, and people need to actually read those packets and bios and choose who they want representing them.
Thank you. Quick comment.
Quick comment. You can lose to abstain. If abstain beats you, you can lose to it. So if he got 5 votes, abstain got 6. Well, a particular lost.
All right. Thank you. So I wanna. The general trend was, I feel like I might be biased against doubling. Some people agreed on making it bigger. Some people agreed on keeping it the same to make it more competitive. I want to point out a personal experience. I was a senator last year, and I feel like last year we really weren't having that much of an attendance, and we were barely meeting the bare minimum. And this year we are much better set. So I feel like if we keep this trend going on, if this goes on for next year as well, we can increase the Senate size. It depends on the nominations that we have for the next Senate elections, because we are planning big things for the executive elections, and hopefully that will get the name out there, that will get more people voting, and that will get more people interested. I think this should, I felt like people agreed on this thing should be a gradual increase rather than a sudden doubling, although there are, of course, advantages about sudden doubling as well. And yeah, that was my feedback on it. So we'll discuss your feedback as the exec board. We are going to discuss whether or not we should bring an amendment. Yeah. A final comment?
Yeah, I was just thinking of ways that we could get freshmen involved, more involved in, like, because a lot of, students who run for these senator positions, they come in, no, I'm just going to run for a position. So maybe if we make it something that's part of Freshman 15 or something event that's publicized at orientation, you pull these volunteers in, have them 1 year of experience with SGA, and then the next year you have this whole batch of people who work with SGA, and now they can hold the position.
Thank you. Just for, who here is a freshman? Raise your hands.
What?
Who's a freshman? These are the freshmen that we have currently. All right. And one more thing. As the performance review part of it, who received the attendance awards last semester. So that was kind of a performance review from my side. Hopefully someone will receive it this semester as well. Rahul, make the quick.
Important point. So the reason why I said doubling Senate and not increasing it, I'm okay with increasing it. I mean, it's a great thing. Was because the reason why Senate is the way it is to accurately represent the student demographics when they're voting. So that's just one thing I wanted to know from you guys. Is that something that's still important, or because if you increase it by 2 people per college, you lose that accurate representation? Or
we're not gonna have any more discussion about this because we need to move on. We have to move on. I'm sorry.
Throw down the gavel, man.
No.
Throw it down.
20 minutes
Moving
later.
on.
20 minutes later.
Yeah. Our next discussion is, should senators be assigned to student orgs? This was an amendment that was made last year by last year's exec board, and we're going to discuss that. Rahul, Leo, please. We're going to discuss this, and Jacob. We're going to discuss this. Same rules: 10 minutes, 1 minute speaker time. All right, raise your hands.
Hold on.
10 minutes.
This discussion is a big part of the communications committee discussion, and
Would you like to speak in favor of it before we start?
I have people who'd like to speak in. Who wanted to start?
Irma?
No, I'm just saying that before, like, this shouldn't be something we discuss just like that. It has to be something like, guys, if you've been working on it, like, talk about. Yeah, the first of what you're thinking, and then we can discuss.
Aaron will speak.
Wait, he will not speak.
On our behalf.
Okay. Aaron, would you like to speak on their behalf?
Thank you, Mete. I would.
Yeah.
Loud and proud.
As Roberta mentioned, this is sort of a project that we've been approaching in ComCom. One of the things that I think we all would agree on is that the student body doesn't really see SGA in a positive light, and there's not really great communication between SGA and the student body. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to assign, as last year, assign certain senators to certain orgs to be able to provide SGA with knowledge of how those organizations run, as well as providing organizations with a voice in SGA. There are a number of issues that we have to overcome. We were talking about sort of senators having quality work. This would definitely be something that we have to make sure that all of the senators are doing, because otherwise some organizations get left out. But we want to, ComCom's goal is to roll it out for the next class of senators as their specific duties as outlined in the Constitution. We'd like to sort of put out a pilot program for some of you for the rest of the semester with orgs that you're already involved in. But first we'd like to get a sense of what's feasible for you senators. And we also want to know like what student orgs sort of want from senators, which is part of another project that ComCom is working on.
Right. Thank you. All right, raise your hands. So sorry first. Sorry, would you like to speak later since we already have a representative from communications? Gayatri.
Okay.
Wait, Akash, raise your hands. Gina, Chilani, Adrian, Abanazir. That's it. Starting now with Gayatri.
Okay. Aaron and
Say your
ComCom team. When I was a senator, we tried to do that as well. One of the main problems that I had was I went into these meetings and I had no clue what to look for. So maybe setting up a briefing package for the senators to see what they should be getting out of attending exec board meetings or just attending general body meetings. So that would help the senators be better prepared.
Yes. So.
No. Akash.
I think the senators, with what we see the future of SGA and where SGA is going, I think we do have a lot on our plate already, and that it's not entirely necessary for senators to be assigned student orgs at this point. Maybe once SGA's strength increases to a larger number of senators, and the school starts to become more efficient in terms of the projects we've accomplished, maybe then we can start to think of assigning to focus on student orgs more. But right now, student orgs really need something. They're more than welcome to come here. We're here every Wednesday. You know, they're like, we are accessible. They know where to meet us because they have presented to us. And if they do have concerns, we're more than open to listen to them.
Gina.
I think that it's a good idea, at least for the bigger organizations on campus. I know my second or third year here at IIT, SGA tried something like this. And our student organization benefited from it greatly. Like, a lot of us didn't even know what SGA was, how to approach SGA. So I think it was a good outreach tool that SGA utilized.
Jelani.
I think that when we were talking about this in ComCom, we were talking about doing it next semester, right?
Yeah.
And as far as implementing it, it wouldn't be something that would happen right now with the amount of senators we have, but it would be something that we try to implement with new senators. As far as having too much on your own plate, I just think that it wouldn't be too hard to just establish a connection with a couple student orgs. It doesn't really have to go as far as, you know, having broad discussions like this in their meetings. It's just to be a liaison, like the project says. We just have to make sure that the little organizations, most of the big ones, have a voice in SGA. And you know, a lot of people feel like it is our job as senators who represent students to be able to represent the organization that the students make up. So I think that this is a very important project, and it's also a good way to assess how much we connect with the student body. Not the only way, but I just think it's a good way to say.
Thank you. Adrian?
Just like what Akash said, like we were just talking about, like we should not improve the quantity of senators, but the quality of them. And adding one more thing to their plate, like, it's just gonna be too much.
Abanazar?
I know when I was senator before we did it, and we each got like 3 orgs, and I think the main reason that people got those SGA did that time was to know what was happening around campus, not to mainly serve as a liaison, but to know what exactly student organizations are doing and how they are operating after they become student organizations, how they're conducting their meetings, events, and such and such. And if they are doing what they said when they first got approved and presented their case to be approved, to be a student.
Xavier.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Soren.
So within ComCom, we've had a lot of discussion about how exactly this program would take place. And going back to having a lot on your plate, this would be implemented as part of the SGA Constitution and would be enforced as part of the senator's duties, and there would be an expectation in place that the senator would do this. Now, with that said, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, we understand that, first of all, organizations are structured so differently from each other that there's no way where we could say, like, you have to go to half the organization's meetings or something like that. This would be more of your committee head would check in on you to see, like, once a month you're sending an email to the org saying, is there anything you need from us? Something like that. Something relatively lightweight that we can be doing. But from our meetings with Ryan, some of us have met with Ryan, and some conversations we've been having, it seemed like the lack before was that there was no central person saying this is exactly what this program is, and this is exactly what you need to do, and here's when you need to do it. And that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you. I think that's a direct response, and then we'll go Aaron, Rahul, Gayatri, Irma, William.
So like you were saying, like it's such a not like that's like it's a lightweight thing you're gonna do with the org. So why not just do it in an email that it can be 1 minute out once a month in an email.
Can I respond?
Quickly.
The reason for doing that was because, so this whole conversation came out of a conversation that we had very early in the semester in ComCom, where we were talking about a student organization, and we didn't have anybody in the room who knew how the student organization actually ran. And we were having a very serious conversation about that organization. So the purpose of this project and the reason that certain organizations are tied to certain senators is so that there's always a reference within SGA, somebody who knows the structure of that organization and is able to serve as a reference for how it's run.
All right, Aaron.
So, Akash, you mentioned, and this is answering Adrian and Akash, sort of a question about the increasing the quantity side of like the senators, like not necessarily quality. Having sort of a personal connection, having orgs having a personal connection with their senators, sort of makes it gives them way easier access to the Senate meetings and makes them more comfortable to come to Senate hearings in the first place. I mean, we've been doing, or you all have been doing a great job of reaching out to non-senators. I mean, just look at how many people who aren't senators or execs are in the room right now compared to our first meeting 6 weeks ago. But you know, how many of you are here because you are part of an org and you're looking for information? Like honestly, are there any of you sort of okay? And do you feel like throughout the course of this meeting you've been
We're one organization.
Why couldn't you respond? You can quickly respond.
Oh, I can quickly respond. Yeah, I'm going to say that because we have Irma in Undocumented Students in Allies, she's been a great person to kind of stay updated on the work that we want to do and collaborating with XG. You know, we wouldn't be able to get to where we are, which we're going to discuss in our announcement. Without your guys' help and guidance as well. So, I'm all.
Thank you. Rahul?
Another way that I'd like to maybe see this happen, I don't know if you guys are open to it or not, is maybe even have judicial board and finance board members be a part of this. So they could reach out to orgs. This way it will help them even assess how orgs are doing. So when they're doing their budgeting or when they're doing their analysis and stuff, it'll be really interesting. So I'll just add that.
Morgan?
That would be unfair because that would be unfair to certain students that would have the finance board, because then other clubs would be like, oh, since you have finance board, they're giving you more money, even though that wouldn't be true.
Yeah, I agree. Finance board should remain very unbiased. It should not be involved in that. And yeah, I don't see judicial board being involved in that either.
Happy?
Just building off of what Aaron said, that's a comment that I personally received when I was part of the whole getting senators and student organizations part. One of them actually said that it's okay if you don't attend meetings, but we know your face and we know who you are. So it's very easy for us to find you and get in touch with you. So as for, I mean, it depends on how. I was part of, I think, 4 different student organizations, and the way they work is sometimes just emails work, sometimes just a Facebook message works that, you know, this is what I'm doing, these are the updates, this is where I'm getting stuck at. So how much is on your plate depends on how good a rapport you create with the organization, and you don't necessarily have to be at every meeting, but you can just ask the secretary, send you updates or meeting minutes and stuff like that.
I'd like to respond to that too, because we plan on having you represent the organizations that you belong to first. So you already will have a good representation of these clubs because you're a part of them.
Thank you. Irma, you already spoke. Do you have any other
I had
comments?
just like another from previous, but again, just to support sort of the whole communications committee, what we went over is that people who are considering running for a position center, they would be aware of the responsibilities and the things that they would be expected to do. So if they're already involved in a lot of organizations and they're worried that this is going to be too much, you know, they would know that ahead of time, so we would discourage those people from joining. And that is also something to take into account in the discussion about doubling the size of Senate, because that's also going to discourage some people. Which is a good thing, because it's going to be discouraging against people that wouldn't have time to dedicate to SGA.
Thank you. William?
Okay, I support the idea, but we have to realize that there's 200 plus organizations and there's like 25 of us at the moment. So we'd each be assigned with 8 or 9 organizations. So that's difficult to manage in itself right there. But so I guess my question is there a way that we can maybe just ask all of those organizations, say, hey, would you like representation? I was assigned like 8 or 9 organizations. I emailed them all, a couple times. I think total I got like 3 responses out of, multiple emails to all of these organizations. So it's, did they care? So did I waste my time? That's my
A
only
quick
concern.
response?
Yeah, this is a quick one. So as of right now, we have an updated list, and it's not nearly at 200. And the second thing is that in this first blush, we are going to take into account. It's not going to be assigning all of the orgs to senators at first outset, because like you said, we're not going to. Some of the orgs are not really going to feel like they need it, but it's going to be manageable. Like the idea is to start the program in a manageable way that it can be built up in the future. So don't worry, you're not going to get 5 or 6 orgs to be the personal contact for. It's going to start small, 1 or 2 at the most.
Thank you, Bruno.
But there's what 25?
William.
There's 25 senators.
Like the 60 biggest orgs.
My point has been.
Your point is right, Jelani.
Just as far as how many orgs there are, like going off what I said, it's going to be like a manageable program at first, and hopefully it's something that we can prove will be successful, and all orgs will be more willing to be participating in it, and it'll also incentivize orgs to try to get their members to be part of SGA. And so it's not something I feel like we should put off because we feel like there are too many orgs. We can always start somewhere. Determining that starting point is something that will take the entire SGA organization, but it's important that we start.
Jeremy.
I just wanted to move to table the discussion.
Yeah, so I mean,
yours was the last
discussion. Yeah, discussion gets put on the table. You can
discussion
pick
is
it
over.
up whenever.
Thank you for all of your feedback. We're gonna evaluate your feedback. We're gonna discuss it in the exit board. I think this one was more evenly split than the doubling the Senate discussion. So we're gonna look into it. Thank you all. Now we'll have UMII coming up. They have been waiting for a long time, so I'll give them 7 minutes to discuss their program.
Alright, I'm not gonna stand up. I'm just gonna stand.
Alright.
Sorry. So, how many of us? 5? We are here to give you kind of information about our campaign, how it went down, because it is ending tonight. Tomorrow we're starting the campaign. We reached out to, I'm trying to count how many organizations we have here. 1, 2, basically reached out to all student organizations. We have compiled a list that I have it in front of me, but I haven't shared all with all of you. We sent an email out to almost everyone. We got responses from a good number of them. We did presentations to individual student organizations. We did in-classroom presentations. Here I have about 10 or so listed. We probably did more. And this has been since November 5th, and we have collected 792 signatures.
How's that?
Our goal was for...
Because we're not able to see you. Can you come up here?
Oh, sure. Do you want us to bring a signature?
Well, we're not gonna count on 792.
Well, yeah, I know, but when I talked to Mette, he said he wanted us to scan them and send them in to you guys. Granted, some of these sheets only have 1 or 2 on them, so we're going to try to organize it as best as possible. But yeah, this is 46 sheets of paper with 792 signatures on them. So it is possible to interact with our student body. So that's about, I think, 26% of the undergraduates. And when we discussed the scholarships since November, we have decided to make it an expendable fund rather than an endowment, because we understand that the need is great and we want to fill that need as soon as possible. We have had John Rowe, I know that we mentioned it, I think when we presented, but he has actually confirmed a donation of $10,000, and we're working on drafting the language for him to get the other board of trustees to give $15,000 for a total of $25,000. So basically it's going to come down to, they're going to kind of give that money if they see the students coming and supporting during the vote. We have been talking in all of our classroom presentations, which we started I think in late January. We've been talking about the date for the election, so I think more students are knowledgeable about when SGA elections are happening. And yeah, so I sat down with Mette and he gave us options of how we want to present the referendum question, and we've decided to do it as an optional question. and to have it as a yes or no option, rather than a yes or no or abstain. So, did you guys want to add anything else to what I had to say? We're also having our Coming Out of the Shadows event tomorrow, which is kind of how we're going to start campaigning. And in terms of campaigning, it's just going to be kind of by word of mouth. We are going to submit, we haven't submitted yet, but we're going to submit a budget of about $100, so we're trying to kind of stay in line with how the candidates are doing it. And that's going to be, I think it's going to be candy or like buttons or something, nothing too big. We did propose for money from Finance Board for a promotional video, which we did not get. And Marketing, Communications, and Institutional Advancement refused to give us the money. So Tanya Cabrera donated it herself. So props to her. So we are finalizing that video, and that should actually come out, I think, by the end of this month. And yeah, our event Coming Out of Shadows tomorrow, we're going to have 9 students present. I think 7 students are going to be sharing their stories. And we're actually going to have a march, a solidarity march from the Welcome Center to IIT Tower. We have developed, we're still finalizing the development of 6 demands we're going to be delivering to the president. And yeah, so those include freezing tuition, not for this academic year, but for the next one. They include a public statement of support for this scholarship initiative and all the work that has gone into it. Because honestly, cram and passing has been very ignorant, but he's willing to learn. We're also asking for a public letter of support for the Student Access Bill, which more information will be given about it. We're also demanding for an undocumented student liaison position to be created within the school, which Tanya Cabrera would fill, but that's a position that we want created because we need that as students. And then mandatory training for all staff and faculty on working with undocumented students. And then we're finalizing the numbers on it, but an increased amount of tenured or on track to be tenured faculty who are Black and Latino, so we represent minority students. So, any questions? Yeah.
So you said the scholarship is now an endowment, or it got changed?
No, it was an endowment, but it's going to be expendable. So expendable means that whatever you have in the fund, you are able to use. Endowment is only 5 to 10% of that goes towards the rest is in the school.
You said that the vote would no longer be yes, no, abstain.
It's going to be a yes or no, but you're going to be able to skip the question, which would act as an abstain.
The question is going to be included in the election, so it's going to be one page where it asks you which candidates would you like to vote for. The second page it will ask you whether you're an undergrad or a grad. If you click undergrad, you'll have the option to vote, and you can choose not to vote.
You're Coming Out of the Shadows event? Where? What time?
1 started 2.
Where will we be able to see the list of published demands once it's finalized?
That's a good question.
We will publish this after they are delivered to the president.
Okay, will they be on the Facebook page for the group, or?
Can we do it through Tech News?
I know I'm covering that. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Right.
One last question. So these demands are for President Cram, correct?
They're for, well, I mean, some of them are for him to directly act on, but they are to be addressed, and we want them to be addressed by 1 p.m. the day of the forum. And if they are not, we will act appropriately during the forum.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll let them luck you on my end. All right. This was a very discussion-heavy Senate meeting, and our next one is probably not going to be like that. We need to hear a lot of student organizations. We're going to keep it around 2 or 3. Rahul?
Just like striker and background and all those nominations are up. So nominate yourself, nominate your peers you work with. You all have done fantastic jobs. I've nominated a bunch of people and I've reached out to them as well. I can't nominate other people, I'm sorry. I think all of you have done fantastic jobs, and a lot of people outside of here also done fantastic jobs. So I encourage you to nominate other people as well. Deadline is 12, right? 12 March.
You can't nominate yourself. Yes, you could. No, you have to do a lot of nomination.
Oh,
You can't write it.
if ask someone to nominate you again. Student gift as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the same. Just give me one.
Please reach out to Gino.
Please do. Right. Shivana, do you have a comment?
Yeah, we've got a lot of feedback from the YouTube channel on our live broadcast,
Really?
and I have copied and pasted it to our meeting minutes. So once we're done, go through the meeting minutes. It's at the bottom, so you can get some. You'll be able to see at what point during the meeting they started the discussion and what it's about. I think it's good feedback to read. That's all.
There are a lot of comments.
Yeah, we have 9 viewers, and we have lots of comments. Yeah.
Very good. You're not adjourned yet.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded. That's it.
Make a straight line. Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Savarno, the host.
Yes.